Hey everyone, my name's Anda. I'm currently a sophomore at Salt Lake City, and today I'd like to introduce you to my presentation, Silver Sync, a senior e-companion that will proactively engage in social interaction and assist seniors with care and reminders. So in this project, I'll first be going over an introduction of what I'm doing before talking a bit about my own research. After that, I'll delve into my proposed solution before we go into a question and answer session. So a little bit about me, as I've already said, I'm a 15-year-old sophomore in Salt Lake City, Utah, greatest snow on earth, and I hope to be a future engineer someday. Outside of Allegiance, I like to dabble in military history, some tank modeling, and extemporaneous speaking. And for this project, I was mentored by Professor Clark Hogarth, who I'd like to give a shout out to right now. So a little bit more about the problem I'm researching. So my grandparents live quite a bit away from me. To be precise, around 4,000 miles away. And with their frequent concerns about societal isolation, their own personal safety, as well as their technological inexperience, and with me having no realistic way to check in on them often, I was wondering if there is any way to find out if this problem is societal and if there was anything I can do to change that. So here are some of the definitions I've used for my research. So for some of the most or advanced ones, natural language processing is basically getting text into ways that computers can understand it. Piping is the process of sending data across pieces of code, and a state machine is a form of code and logical structure that seeks to understand what state the user is in, for example, like sentiment, and change how its own logical structure based on that. And lastly, a generative pre-trained transformer, otherwise known as a GPT, is a form of a neural network that is able to generate a human-like response based on textual input. So, based on my research looking at the status quo of senior care in the United States, it does not look very pretty. With more and more seniors entering our society, it is projected that by 2040, 1 in 5 among us will be seniors. And with so many people at the table, our piece of pie for the seniors, senior care, isn't increasing. Stagnant care resources with not much technological progress being instilled in the field threatens neglect of our senior populations, and such a large senior population may also threaten us having to pour more and more resources into our social care programs, negatively hampering the lives of other people within this economy. Traditionally, caregiving methods have been our quote unquote way out, with stuff like senior residencies and at home consultation being the most common methods. However, the lack of government regulation as well as trained professionals in this field hampers its effectiveness, according to my interview with a medical professional in this field. Not only that, the large affordability issues of this problem, with sometimes a single income consultation costing up to $300, almost hampers this access to the majority of proletarian seniors within the United States. And existing technology can serve as somewhat as a way out, with e-companion technology serving as more affordable and more accessible to seniors who potentially could not afford caretaking. However, its rigid pre-programmed structures, often following a preset database, cannot seek to meet the diverse needs of seniors within the United States. And with these good intentions, yet bad implementation, its effectiveness is greatly hampered. With this in mind, my solution would need to tackle all of these problems. Firstly, it would need to assist seniors conversationally, not rigidly, and be able to determine a senior emotional state to have the same goal and be able to respond more logically. Not only that, a common concern with technology right now is with senior autonomy and privacy, which is something that my project has to be very careful about. Not only that, its affordability must be ensured, as well as its protection of worker job security. And lastly, the implementation of novel evolving technologies would also be a requirement because otherwise I wouldn't be doing a research project, would I? So here's something I made, and I'd like to show you a quick demonstration of it. Please enjoy. Hey everyone, it's me, and today I'm going to be demonstrating some of the features of my application by using it as a senior. I'll firstly be starting with parsing speech from the senior before analyzing my emotion, my will to interrupt, and then getting into how my application will react by either sending a reminder, generating and outputting a response, as well as supervising the quality of that response. Let's get started. Man, so gosh darn lonely. I wish somebody would talk to me right now. Man, so gosh darn lonely. I wish somebody would talk to me right now. This speech is then converted to text, which is then stored in a cloud storage space, as seen right now. The intent is also analyzed. The device camera can also analyze your current sentiment as well as both interrupt or not. This data is then also stored in a cloud storage space. The device determines whether you are looking normal or if you want to interrupt what the chatbot is currently outputting.
Hello there. I'm here to chat with you. How are you doing today?
So
Anything interesting on your mind?
here we can see that what the chatbot has outputted as speech is also stored in the cloud storage space. Hey, I have a doctor's appointment on Sunday, August 13th at 11:50 a.m. in the morning. Please remind me about it. Hey, I have a doctor's appointment on Sunday, August 13th at 11:50 a.m. in the morning. Please remind me about it. Here, the sentiment was detected as the request for a reminder, and the text is also stored in that cloud storage space.
Reminder, you have an appointment today at 11:50 in the morning.
Okay, see, look at that. Simple as. And that is the demonstration of my entire application, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. All right. So with that presentation in mind, we're able to see that I'd say I did a pretty good job at making a functional product. So let's delve a bit more into the technical specifics of what I did. So here's the logical structure of my program, with each color on this diagram here representing a piece of code. So basically, first I use OpenAI's Whisper automatic speech recognition tool to parse the speech of what I'm saying and then store that in a database. This sentiment of this text is also analyzed by a sentiment analyzer and also stored in there. During the same time, an image of my face is being taken in order to analyze my sentiment, for in that case, happy, and also if I want to interrupt what the chatbot is saying or not. More on that later. With this in mind, after the task, the specific input, as well as my sentiment is stored, this information is then parsed by a reaction piece of code. This piece of code basically uses all this information to generate a prompt for my generative pre-trained transformer service, and it is then sent over via API channels. Once it has been sent over, the chatbot will then be given time to respond and then have that information played out by a text-to-speech service. And this is where the interruption comes in. Considering how human conversations involve a lot of interruptions, perhaps if I want to say something, while the chatbot is blabbing on and on, just having it keep talking would not be very conversational and not very senior friendly. With this in mind, I can then use an interruption feature in order to make it more specific. I can interrupt what the chatbot is saying and therefore make my service be a lot more conversational and helpful. Here are some of the technical specifics of what I've made. Basically, it's all the same as I've detailed, but if you're interested, feel free to have me get back to these slides during our question and answer session. So I think that my solution has been able to tackle the majority of all the concerns and considerations I've previously left out. I've talked about. In terms of senior autonomy, my system has built-in rules for the generative pre-trained transformer system to prevent transgressions of senior boundaries. Not only that, this technical system has proven to be far more economically efficient and affordable than traditional caretaking methods. And not only that, job security for workers is also preserved. Considering how currently the medical service for seniors is understaffed without trained professionals, this system can complement people who are just currently still learning the ropes of the trade or support them in much needed areas. And lastly, the existence of senior data on an online cloud storage base that is private and secured means that no data breaches are unlikely to data breaches are highly unlikely to happen. In terms of taking my project to the next level, I can create more conversational structure by exploring turn-taking and conversation even more. By looking at its linguistics and as well as technical ways to achieve that, I'll be able to make my chatbot a lot more conversational. A hardware component won't hurt. Here are some of the sources I've used. These are mostly for discovering some of the ways that I could improve my project, as well as for next steps, which I'm currently working on, so stay tuned. And on behalf of a brighter future, I'd like to thank you for silver syncing with me today.